from space. It's a jewel in the Indian Ocean, a paradise island nation with a history as rich and vibrant as its landscapes. But as we draw closer past the bustling streets of Colombo, another story begins to unfold, a story of silence. Abandoned factories, once the engines of a thriving economy, now stand as hollow shells. University halls, meant to echo with the voices of the future, are eerily quiet. Streets, the arteries of commerce and community, lie empty. What led to this stillness? This is not a story of natural disaster, but of a path not taken, of future interrupted. Today, we explore the hidden costs of prolonged instability and ask, what could Sri Lanka have become? Our story begins in the 1970s, a time of global change and local tension. Sri Lanka, then Ceylon, was a young republic navigating its post-colonial identity. Hopes were high, but so were the frustrations. The youth, educated and ambitious, found their aspirations clashing with a slow-moving economy and limited opportunities. Initial protests were born from this discontent, a demand for change and a fairer system. The government of the day responded with nationalization policies, attempting to centralize control over the economy. However, these measures often led to inefficiency and bureaucracy. The seeds of a more radical movement were sown in this fertile ground of economic hardship and political disillusionment. It is a stark reminder that even a month of systemic shutdown can set a nation back by a year or more, derailing progress and compounding the very problems it seeks to solve. The early warnings were there a growing disconnect between the people's dreams and the nation's reality. The period of 1988 to 1989 marks one of the darkest chapters in Sri Lanka's modern history. The nation was paralyzed. Curfews became a part of daily life, silencing cities and confining people to their homes. The familiar hum of industry faded as factories were forced to close their doors. The economic impact was immediate and devastating. Graphs from the late 80s paint a clear picture: a sharp downward plunge in production, exports, and overall GDP. Foreign investment, which had been trickling in, dried up almost overnight. The climate of fear and uncertainty was not just a social crisis, it was an economic catastrophe. Key sectors like tourism and garment manufacturing, which were just beginning to find their footing on the global stage, were crippled. It wasn't just about the numbers on a chart. It was about the livelihoods lost, the businesses that shuttered, and the economic momentum that vanished, leaving a void that would take decades to fill. The nation was effectively put on hold, its economic engine sputtering to a halt. Nowhere was this stagnation felt more acutely than within the halls of academia. Universities, the crucibles of innovation and progress, became symbols of delay. Gates were locked and classrooms remained empty for months, sometimes years, on end. A standard 3-year degree program stretched into 5 or even 6 years, trapping an entire generation of students in a state of academic limbo. Imagine the frustration of young minds eager to learn, build, and contribute, forced to simply wait. Parents watched with growing anxiety as their children's futures were postponed indefinitely. This created a massive backlog, a bottleneck in the country's supply of skilled professionals: doctors, engineers, scientists, and teachers. The personal cost was immense, but the national cost was even greater. Each year of delay was a year Sri Lanka fell further behind, losing its competitive edge and sacrificing the intellectual capital that should have been driving its development. The ripple effect of this educational paralysis would be felt for generations to come. The disruption extended far beyond the classroom, seeping into the very infrastructure of the nation. Ambitious development projects, meticulously planned to modernize Sri Lanka, were either indefinitely postponed or abandoned altogether. Take the Trincomalee oil tank farm, a strategic asset with the potential to turn Sri Lanka into a regional energy hub. Plans for its development stalled, The expansion of export processing zones, designed to attract foreign manufacturing and create thousands of jobs, was put on the back burner. Crucial highway projects that would have connected commercial centers and improved logistics were delayed, leaving the country's infrastructure lagging behind its neighbors. International headlines from the era tell a consistent story: investments cancelled, partnerships dissolved, and opportunities lost. Sri Lanka was seen as a high-risk environment, and global capital, which is always cautious, flowed elsewhere. Each delayed project was a piece of a brighter future that failed to materialize, a testament to how instability can dismantle the very foundations of progress. So, let's imagine an alternate timeline. A Sri Lanka untouched by these decades of paralysis. What would it look like? Picture a Colombo skyline rivaling that of Singapore or Dubai, a testament to decades of uninterrupted foreign investment and economic growth. Imagine a network of superhighways and high-speed rail seamlessly connecting the island and making it a logistical powerhouse in the Indian Ocean. In this alternate future, Sri Lanka isn't just a tourist paradise. It's a global tech hub with sprawling innovation parks and smart cities powered by its own educated workforce. The garment industry evolves into a high-fashion powerhouse, and the port cities become epicenters of global trade. Universities are world-class centers for research and development, attracting talent from across the globe. This isn't a fantasy, it was a plausible reality. Many Asian nations with similar starting points in the 1970s achieved this level of prosperity. This vision represents the potential that was always there, the future that was within grasp, had the nation chosen a path of stability and continuous progress. The cost of this lost time is not just economic, it is a profound human and social tragedy. When we look at a timeline of Sri Lanka's history, the years of shutdown and unrest stand out as deep scars. Each highlighted period represents more than just a political event. It represents empty classrooms where futures were delayed. It represents abandoned construction sites that were meant to be hospitals, schools, and highways. It represents a brain drain where the brightest minds, seeing no future at home, left the country, taking their skills and potential with them. It represents a cumulative loss of confidence, a societal trauma that erodes trust in institutions and in the future itself. This hidden cost is the sum of millions of individual dreams deferred, of potential unfulfilled. It's the story of a nation that was constantly forced to hit the reset button, losing precious decades while the rest of the world moved forward. The true price was the erosion of hope, but the story of Sri Lanka is not over. The past cannot be changed, but it offers powerful lessons for the future. Within this island nation lies an incredible reservoir of resilience, talent, and potential. We see it in the children studying diligently, their eyes full of dreams for a better tomorrow. We see it in the scientists and innovators who, against all odds, continue to push the boundaries of knowledge. We see it in the entrepreneurs who dare to build and in the artists who dare to create. The path forward requires a collective commitment to stability, dialogue, and uninterrupted progress. To protect the future, we must first understand and learn from the past. The greatest man-made disaster is not what has been destroyed, but what was never built. By safeguarding its peace and ensuring its institutions can function without disruption, Sri Lanka can still build the future it has always deserved. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe for more deep dives into our man-made world.